part-time, and she got sense, so it's gonna be alright. She my part-time, and she love me through the hard times. She my part-time girlfriend. She my part-time girlfriend. She my part-time girlfriend.
Welcome to this week's episode of Your Sports Place with Mason Place, powered by Tilden Sports. This week's episode's a little different. I'm going to be going solo this week, and I'll be explaining the story of what Tilden Sports means and why I started it. And I'll also be doing a Q&A. People sent me in questions on my social media pages, so I'll just be answering those. So let's get started. So many people may wonder what exactly the word Tilden Sports came from. And it means something to me and to my friend group, and it probably means nothing to anybody else. Tilden Sports comes from the street name that we had in college that we used to hang out at all the time, and it was just like me and my friend group, and we would just watch sports, have a good time, just do tons of fun things there. There was tons of memories. It was called Tilden Road. So that's where it comes from. And, you know, that was kind of my marketing plan, was to turn the word Tilden into something that means something to everybody, not just my friend group. So I went with that, and it's been working so far, and I like it, and I love the name. It just brings back memories every time I hear the word or see the word. So I love it. But what inspired me to start the brand and the podcast is just a crazy story. So when I was younger, I was diagnosed with a rare form of bone cancer. And, you know, that was a struggle for sure, going through chemotherapy and doing all that. But it was a blessing at the same time. I got to meet a lot of cool people, a lot of cool athletes, make a lot of cool relationships that I still have to this day. And it just, I don't know, it was a blessing to put it into words. So then when I was in college a few months ago, I got a brain tumor found in my head. I got an MRI, and they found this tumor in my head, and so I had to have brain surgery, and that was crazy. I was afraid I might die, or that my life might be changed forever, and it was terrifying. It truly was. And so I got out of surgery, and I just had tons of people reaching out to me and trying to be there for me. And a lot of these athletes that I had made, or that I had met in the past and made relationships with, I was reconnected with. And so when I was in the process of recovery, I came up with this idea of starting a brand where I interview these people and then hopefully get to interview more athletes that I don't currently know and do what I love. I love sports. I love media and marketing and all that kind of stuff. So it was perfect for me. So that's why I started it. And it's been a struggle. Like, I wanted to start it earlier than I did, but it took a lot of time. And part of the reason was I got diagnosed with clinical depression, and that was hard. It's been a journey to get out of that and to be back to what I'm doing now. I had to move back home with my parents for a while and basically just have their support, because I couldn't do it on my own. It was too rough, and I credit God. I just became so much closer in my faith to Him, and it's just helped me through it. Now I'm back living with my boys, and we're just having a good time, and it's been fun. I still have my bad days. There's definitely days that are not good, and I just wake up and I want to cry, and I have no clue why I want to cry. It's like I don't even have time to look at my phone, and I just want to bawl my eyes out. That doesn't make any sense, but it's true. So it's been a journey, but working on this podcast has really helped me, and so I'm glad that I finally was able to start doing it. I wanted to do it a lot sooner, like I said, but it took time for me to get in the right mental spot, and here we are, 5 episodes deep now. So that's exciting, and I have a lot of cool things planned for the future for this brand. So I'm super, super excited to get it started. So yeah, that's basically the story of Tilden Sports, what it means and why I started it, and why I'm going to continue to keep doing the things that I'm doing with it. Now let's get into the Q&A section of the podcast. So I got quite a few questions sent in to me. I only thought I'd only get like 2 or 3, but surprisingly I got quite a bit more than that. So the first question is, how did you cope with the pain after your surgery? Well, yeah, I was in tons of pain. My head just throbbed nonstop, and it was tough. But they had me on tons of painkillers, and I just had to do a lot of rehab as well. And eventually the pain just started going away, and I started weaning off the painkillers. And then eventually the pain went away. And then once I got the staples removed from my head, that relieved a lot of pressure. So then really the pain from the surgery, it went away after that. Second question is, did your brain tumor impact your relationship with God in a positive or negative way? I would definitely say a positive way. It put me back on track where I needed to be. I'm a Christian for sure, but I was focused on so many other things, and then this happened, and instead of me like being discouraged or despising or hating God, it made me love him even more. And I just I feel the need to want to show that and spread that, and it makes me so happy reading his word and just being more biblically focused in my life. It definitely, it was worth it in my eyes. I would do it all over again because it truly was worth it with how I've grown with my relationship with God. And then this question was asked twice. It says, what are things that keep you motivated? Well, one is my relationship with God. I want to glorify him. That's why I do the things that I do nowadays. So he is a big motivator for me. I want to glorify him. Second is I want to do cool things with this. I'm so motivated to making this something huge, nationwide, and spreading my story to help others, just putting out cool content for people and enjoyable content that they'll like, not just sport content, but music and pop culture, that kind of stuff that just keeps me motivated to keep working hard. And definitely my parents too. I want to be able to take care of them. I want to be rich. I want to be able to give my mom and my dad, who are so special to me in my life, anything that they want. So they're a big motivator to me. They've taken such good care of me in my life, and they would do anything for me. So I want to be able to do anything for them. And then the next question is, what is your favorite sport, and who is your favorite team from that sport, and why? My favorite sport is definitely basketball. I've just always loved basketball. I grew up playing it. I wanted to be an NBA player when I was little. Obviously, that didn't happen, but it's just always been, that was what I went to. I just have enjoyed watching it more than any other sport. I love all sports, but that's by far my favorite. And my favorite team is the Miami Heat. And the reason is because my real dad, he had an Alonzo Mourning Heat jersey hanging in our house my whole life. And then he passed away, and I wanted to keep that jersey. And I've just held on to that jersey ever since then. It's hanging in my room right now. And I wanted to be like my dad. He was a Heat fan, so I was a Heat fan. That's why I loved Miami Heat. People used to always hate on me and say that I was a bandwagon LeBron James, big three guy that just hopped on that. No, I've always been a Heat fan. And that brings in to the next question, who's my favorite basketball player? Well, it's Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade's my dude. I love him. I grew up watching him play before the Big Three era, after the Big Three era. Dwayne Wade's by far my favorite and always will be. He's my favorite athlete without question. Next question is, who are my top 3 favorite rappers? This is a fun question for me. I love music. I love hip-hop music. So my top 3 are Kanye, Travis Scott, and Wiz Khalifa. I've probably heard every single song all 3 of those dudes have ever created, and I've loved all of them since I was little. Travis didn't start getting big till I was in high school, but Wiz and Kanye, they've been massive for years. So even when I was in middle school, I was listening to them. And then when Travis came out, I started to listen to him and just love all his music and his old mixtapes and all that stuff. And then this guy's not a rapper, but he's probably my favorite artist, and he's kind of mixed in with those dudes. It's The Weeknd. I love The Weeknd. I've heard every song he's ever created as well, and he's awesome. Him and Kanye are probably my 2 favorite overall artists without question. And then the next question is, outside of my family and faith, who do I look up to as a role model? This question wasn't even that hard for me. I didn't have to think that long. The answer is the first dude that I had as a guest, Eric Wood. And the reason being is because Eric had some crazy thing happen to him that stunted his NFL career. So he had to deal with that mentally, and that was hard on him. And then he turned that into something else. He started his own podcast. He works for ESPN too as well, and he uses his platform to glorify God and put his faith out there. And that's so inspiring to me. The reason I wanted to start a podcast in the first place was because me and Eric got reconnected, and he was doing it, and I thought it was so cool. I was like, I could do cool things like him. So that's why I did it. He inspired me to do that. And then I listened to his podcast, and he's so upfront about his love for Jesus and all that. And I want to be that same way. Use the platform I've been given to be exactly like that. So definitely Eric. Eric's a great guy, and we've just grown a great relationship together. We talk weekly and love him to death. And then the last question is, where do I see myself in 5 years? In 5 years, I hope that this Tilden Sports is popping off, man. I hope it's huge. It's nationwide. Everybody knows about it, not just my friends and family. And I hope everybody's enjoying it, and that we're growing it, and that there's people working for it, employees, making money, doing that sort of stuff. And we're just being able to put in so many different types of interests into it. Putting in sports, putting in music, putting in pop culture, just bringing a lot of different people to my brand. And I just want to be the head center running all of it. And I just want to be glorifying God in everything I do with it. So that's where I see myself in 5 years. I want to be doing that. So yeah, that about ends this episode, and I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope now you all have an understanding of why I'm doing what I'm doing and the future plans that I have with it. So I hope you all will continue to follow and enjoy the content that I bring to you. I'm in the works of a lot of cool things, and I'm super excited about it. And hopefully some of those things will be announced soon, so just be on the lookout for that. All right, thank you all.
She my part-time, and she got sense, so it's gonna be alright. She my part-time, and she love me